Hello you lovely people and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Iris Pilatus PC21. It's been out around a year, I think, ish, for MSFS, and I know I'm late to the party, but I've not really had it too long, and I thought, well, why not? So, to start off with, let's have a look at the liveries. We've got the Pilatus House Livery 2022, 75th anniversary and 2006. There's an Iris Air Force trim. There's the Iris Outback Storm, Iris Tactical Grey, Iris Purple Haze, Night Fury's Aerobatic Team Light, Night Fury's Aerobatic Team Dark, Iris Blank Slate trim, Fuerza Aérea Mexicana, and the Silver Falcons Aerobatic Team. And then the last one is Escuadrilla de Fumaça. Now, I've downloaded 5 more liveries from flightsim.to. I'm a PC user, so I get the extra liveries from there. And this one is a real livery. It's the Empire Test Pilots School based at Boscombe Down, run by Kinetic, and that's one I'm going to be using for this video. But I also downloaded RAF Camo, 100 Squadron RAF Heritage, Tactical Green and a Tactical Grey, just purely because they took my fancy. So let's take the Kinetic livery. We're going to be flying from RAF Scampton, just because it's somewhere different that I've got to fly from. I'm going to be using the default high level clouds, so that I don't get a frame rate kick or a freeze in the video. So let's get into the cockpit and have a look around. Okay, so looking around, it's a bit too clean inside. Could have done with a bit more weathering and maybe a bit more detailing in the textures on the inside. It does look a bit out of focus, if I'm honest. Let's have a look around the cockpit anyway. So the left hand side here, we've got our brightness rear stats for panels, floods, and for the display brightness on the MFDs. Oxygen, throttle, flaps. We've got all our engine starter switches here, fuel pumps here, trims, gear. That's not clickable. 3 MFDs here are up front control. 2 smaller screens either side will have artificial horizon and other bits and pieces in. Warning lights either side. Our arm switch to simulate or arm. Formation lights. Nav brightness, you can have 10, 20 and 100%. Over this side we have our oxygen blinkers here, parking brake annunciator panel, electric supply, so battery 1 and 2, generators, and then we've got FMS on off button there, our mission computer which will run this bit here, and mission computer and HUD which will run both of those. Then we've got our external lights and probe heat, FMS, our different comms, comm mode, and then we've got the in-cockpit temperature and cabin pressure and things like that. Okay, and then if we jump in the back, you'll find that it's not quite as busy as it is in the front. We've still got our rear stats there, oxygen, throttle, flaps, obviously, starters, and fuel pumps, trims, gear, 3 MFDs, are smaller screens either side, and the warning lights, up front control, a repeater for the HUD, annunciator panel, electricity, FMS, comms, and fan speed in the back here. Now there is a autopilot panel between the legs at both front and back cockpit. You can make the yoke or stick visible or invisible. In between the seat here we have our ejection seat safety pins, which I thought was a quite a nice little addition. If we jump back into the front, we'll do the same for that. As you can see down here, we've got another one. Click that, and we also have one back here for the canopy, so we need to take that out before we can close it. I do like the animation of where they store them, that's pretty cool. So let's get the canopy closed and then we can get ourselves started. So to close the canopy, you'd think you'd grab this rail up here or something, but no, there's a little release catch here, closes it, and then we've got lock there. Okay, so let's jump to having it started. And in the words of Dr. Frankenstein, it's alive. So let's have a look at the screens, shall we? So we've got artificial horizon, or backup artificial horizon, on the left hand side here, with our barometric increase and decrease knob here, so we can drop the altitude, as we seem to be a lot higher than we should be. We can also set our nav modes with this button here, and there's an align SFD align there. On the other one we have our torque and temperatures and our fuel flow and our battery in volts and amps. Our blinkers are going for the oxygen, and as you can see we've got our main page for HSI, ADI, VVI, speed, altitude, all the good stuff, TACAN, VORs, things like that. Course heading, we rotate that. The heading bug will move, we rotate this one. Course needle, well, the course changes there, so just rotate that. And over this side I guess this is a situational awareness, various overlays that you can have, yet it doesn't seem to actually do anything. So zoom out to 40 or 50. As you can see, I'm just clicking things and not a lot seems to be happening. Data link, info, nothing. So be interesting to see what that actually does. So over on the right hand MFD, we can switch between the pages. So we've got hydraulics, electrics, fuel, control services, I believe, or comms, engine, ops is inoperable. System goes back to our torque, temperature, NG percentage, outside air temperature, and cabin pressure. Got warnings there, which are lit up at the bottom here, and then up here we've got fuel flow and other bits. Now if we come to this, it's the instructor page. Now we have various controls over the aircraft. We can disconnect and connect the ground power unit. We can add the fuel tank, external fuel tanks, or take them off. We can fly as a 1-seat or a 2-seat pilot, I mean. We can solo or team. Lights we can set to day or night. Lights again, dawn, dusk. and lights night. Cockpit. Now this is a strange one, and I think this may be something to do maybe keeping the frame rate down for Xbox users, to save having all the avionics on at the same time. Because if I jump into the back seat now, you can see even though I have all the avionics on, we have nothing on these screens whatsoever. The FMS, that doesn't work at all in the back. I've never been able to get that to work, even switching between cockpits with the avionics. So what we'll do is we'll go back to that panel and switch the avionics over. I'll jump to having done that. Now you can see having flicked the switch, everything's come to life in the back seat. We've got the repeater, the HUD repeater is on, both of the smaller displays, the up-front control, and all three MFDs. The FMS not working at all. Not been able to get this working since the beginning. I don't know if they've just not bothered to have that in the back or what. We've never been able to get that, even though it's switched on from the front. It doesn't pass on like the avionics does to the back seat. So everything can be controlled from the back, obviously. Now, and you can see what you're doing. You've got dimmer switches and things like that. So we'll go back into the front, and we'll pass the avionics back over. One thing that I have found interesting, Iris being an Australian company, obviously dedicated to the Royal Australian Air Force, hence the reason why they made the PC-21. But I found this to be quite a good little add-on. Having the Royal Australian Air Force using PC-21s in their training program, and also F-18s. I don't know if this is possible in the real aircraft, but you can change the HUD so it actually shows F-18 HUD, which I thought was really cool. Get you used to the look of the HUD in your choice of aircraft once you've passed your training phase. We can change that back to PC-21. We can change our altitude between millibars and INHG. Yes, I don't know what that means, that's why I said INHG. And then we have some AI bits. The AI can start, the AI can taxi, take off, and also shut down. So let's go to the next page. We've got all our external bits and pieces like chocks, plugs and flags. Pilots are auto, instructors are auto, but you can change them so that actually Asobo bits and pieces. So if we, where did I see that? You can change it so that they're Asobo pilots and not the normal ones that come with the actual aircraft. So and then we've got our oxygen pins as norm. We can change that from in here as well. So the instructors page is quite interesting. It's nice that it's got some extra bits and pieces, and there's not really much else to add to that. I mean, everything else doesn't really have any extra options, but we have we go back to our systems page here, and it's all set up to roll. So let's do some externals. I've not shown the outside model yet, but we can do that plus the sound at the same time. As you can hear, the inside sounds sound a bit odd. I mean, I've never heard the engine of a PC-21 from the inside of the cockpit, so I don't know how real to life that actually is, but it does sound a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, digital. I guess it sounds too synthetic. I don't know if it's actually the real sounds or not. Let's jump outside. As you can see, the designer of this livery has done a fantastic job. I'll put a comparison picture up in the top left hand corner. Okay, and we'll have a look around the aircraft. I mean, it's a really nice model in itself. All the little extra details like the RWR sensors on the front, all the little vents, panel lines, rivets, little access panels. They're all very well modelled. Static discharges on the tail surfaces there. Yeah, it looks really nice. So sound, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, going around the aircraft, dynamic sounds, which is good. Now if we throttle up, it's actually nice that you've got a wind effect there. And from the outside, the engine actually sounds really good. I mean, I've seen enough PC-21s flying to know what they sound like, and that's actually really good. Yeah, just the inside that lets it down a bit. I don't know if that's, like I say, if it's like how the real thing sounds, or you know, if it's just something with the sound for the sim aircraft. One thing I've just noticed that the student pilot has micro detonating cord in the canopy. The instructor doesn't. I don't know if I'd be happy flying in the back knowing that in case the canopy doesn't jettison properly, the front guy can get out okay with the detonating cord, but I'm stuck headbutting the canopy from the back. Oh well, you take risks, I suppose. But yeah, from the outside it's really nice. Okay, so let's do some ground handling. Make our way to the runway. So we're going to stick one notch of taxi flaps down. Going to take the parking brake off. Throttle up ever so slightly. I'm going to go flying out the gate, and we're going to taxi out to the right. All is good. Ground handling seems heavy for a small aircraft. It's not bad, but it does feel a bit heavy. Let's close this one down. And you've got your up-front control here, you've got your comms, and you can change bits and pieces here, change your frequencies with scratch pad, put your TACAN in, transponder. I'm going to change that to, if I can, it's not going to let me, mode. Get out of the way! These idiots driving on the airfield, honestly. Fuel, mission data not loaded, mark, nav, air to air, air to ground, back, go to comms, transponder, and ILS. You can change there. So all your inputs are done via the up front controller here, which is nice and simple. Obviously you've got all your flight plans in the FMS down there. So let's get it in the air. I'm going to push it too hard. Bit of ghosting going on the HUD there. It's a bit odd. And the differential braking is a bit touchy as well. Alright then, okay. Let's just get the thing up in the air and do some manoeuvres in it. And we're up. Gear up. Flaps up. Trim out. Very light on the controls. Pull back slightly. What's the roll rate like? Yeah, roll rate's alright. Pretty good. What you'd expect for a light trainer like this. See what the climb rate's like. Pull up. I'm doing 211 knots. Keep it in a 40-degree climb. Okay, I'm going to get close to the stall in a minute. There's that ghosting on the HUD again. Okay, we're going to pull up. Dangerous manoeuvre as we're only like 60 foot off the ground. Over the top. Start throttling back. Takeoff flaps down. Flaps up. Yeah, that's not bad at all actually, to be fair. Very responsive, it's lovely. See, sometimes you don't have to have your hair on fire doing Mach 1.6 to enjoy an aircraft. I could sit and do aerobatics in this all day, it's actually really fun. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan of their tutor, which is superb. This isn't bad at all. Right, let's get this thing on the approach and try and land it. We do have an air brake if we need to try and slow down, but this thing bleeds speed off so quickly, I don't think we're going to need it, if I'm honest. That's what I'll do while I'm up here. We'll try the stall and see what the recovery is like. We're at 3,000, so keep the nose up, 10 degrees, nose high. It's holding the speed actually really well. Not low speed handling. Pull up a little bit more then. Okay, so we're starting to bite the buffet there. Oh, there comes the stall warning. Oh, and the left wing's going. Alright, fair enough. It's not bad. Stall recovery. Yeah, stall recovery is pretty simple as well. Nice and simple, nice and easy, responsive to your controls, and isn't a danger to fly. Exactly what you want from a trainer. Get the gear down. We'll notch your flaps. Right. Get the landing lights on. And again, lovely and easy on the approach. Deploy the speed brake. Anyone else for butter? Lovely stuff. Air brake back in. Now, these usually have a reverse thrust, but in this case it doesn't. At least the Tucano used to have a bit of a reverse thrust. So it's just braking all the way on this one. And there we go. Back down. Terra firma. All is good in the world. Just have a quick look at the autopilot, and then we will do a summary. Okay, so let's give this autopilot a quick looking over. I'm cruising along at 3,000 feet, 229 knots. So I'm going to switch on the autopilot. That'll automatically put on a roll and pitch, so it'll keep me steady at the moment. But I want altitude hold. Let's stick altitude hold on. And we should stay at 3,100. No, I don't want the 3,100. Change that there. Just change it to 3,000. Okay. And we can also do the heading bug hold, blah blah blah. This is very basic autopilot. It looks like it could do a lot, but it's very, like I say, it's very simplistic. So it will turn where you want to turn, it will hold, but you can't climb and descend the altitude, it will only hold it. You have control of vertical speed, which can be done with the knob there to climb and descend that way. Indicated airspeed, if I push that now, it will stay. You see we get a little arrow there. It will keep it try and keep it at 233 knots from now on. You can't decrease or increase the speed. See, I'm moving the throttle and getting no response because it's locked in the hold. What else? The flight director obviously has to be activated, as well as your autopilot switch, and we've got approach. And then we've got nav as well. If you've got a frequency locked in, you can hit the nav and it will try and chase the CDI and head towards that VOR. Or if you've got a flight plan, it will work with that as well. And to change those functions, you push these buttons here, and you can also change your HSI mode from CDI to map. I'm going to have it in traditional mode. I can actually turn the course needle in this mode, and keep turning, and you'll see that it's in the same direction as the purple magenta line there. 48 X-ray got tuned in as Coningsby, 11.5 nautical miles away. ILS-1 is Coningsby's ILS system, and we're going to go into that. So let's jump to approach. Okay, so Coningsby is just off our nose here. I'm going to hit approach, and you see we've got approach glide slope. We are, what's the speed? We're below 250 knots. Get the gear down, and we'll start getting the flaps down. As you can see, I've got no control over this whatsoever, so it's done it all itself, which is fantastic. Okay, we'll pull up slightly now. Go right back. And we're down. Nice. Turn the autopilot off. So yeah, reliable autopilot, so that's a good thing about it as well. So let's go on to the summary. Right, well, final thoughts then. It looks good, it flies good. Interior is a little bit too clean, needs a bit more weathering, and maybe the textures updating inside. Other than that, it flies really well. Autopilot's brilliant. A lot of fun, very manoeuvrable as you'd expect from a slick turboprop. It's awkward. Another thing that lets it down is the not being able to just switch into the back seat and have everything active. You have to go through the whole switching the avionics from the front to the back and get into the back, and then if you want to get in the front you've got to switch the avionics over again. That's a bit of a pain, but I can see why that's a thing if this is also being used on Xbox to save frame rate and memory and things like that, so sensible. But yeah, I've heard that it's arcadey or a bit too easy to fly, but unless you've flown a real PC-21, I guess you can't have a real opinion on it. I know I certainly can't, but I think it flies great. I'm not an arcadey flyer at all. I prefer things as real as I can possibly get them with a realistic environment, and hopefully this is as close to the real thing as you can get, and if it is, then it's a fantastic aircraft, and I can see why it's very popular. And it's just a shame the RAF really didn't get any, because we got the Texan too. Yes, it's got its own capabilities as well, and it can be used as a makeshift close air support aircraft as well, but I don't know. There was nothing wrong with the Tucano, to be honest. But you know, our governments like to waste money on things that don't need really spending. And then they spend all that money on trainers and send our pilots to Italy to be trained, so you work that one out. Anyway, enough of the politics. Yeah, so it's priced just over £18. I think that's fantastic value for what you get. And brilliant for any of those aerobatic display teams, or you know, people that like to fly in groups and do aerobatic manoeuvres and things. This thing's pretty solid, and it won't let you down. So yeah, I'll keep it there, short and sweet. But the Iris PC21, £18 or just over on Orbex. Yeah, I'd give it a punt. So yeah, if you got this far, thank you very much, and as always, take care, and I will see you in the next one.